Sunday the 8th of March, Glasgow Derby Day. Heading into Ibrox as a Celtic fan is never exactly a routine away trip, and probably one that we'll not see again for a very long time. The first thing you noticed wasn't the football, it was the policing. Police vans everywhere, officers lining the streets, helicopters overhead. But the whole thing just felt a bit of a farce, to be honest. Celtic fans were making their way to the stadium, the majority behaving themselves, and yet we're the ones getting the heavy treatment. It took over an hour to get from the street outside just into the stadium. Celtic fans were already completely separated from the Rangers support, so crowd mixing was not the issue. It just felt slow, disorganised and unnecessarily difficult. Hundreds of fans left standing about when all anyone wanted to do was just get in and get on with the match. Before the ball was even kicked, frustration was already building. Once you finally made it through the front gate, that wasn't the end of it. You then had to make your way through what felt like about 20 police officers and stewards, showing your ticket again and again and again. Every few steps, another check, another stop, another scan. By that point, it felt less like entering a football stadium and more like getting through airport security, except much, much slower, much more frustrating and much more disorganised. All the while, Celtic fans are just trying to do exactly what we've tried to do all day, which is just get in, get to our seats and enjoy the game. Eventually, after all the queues and checks, we finally made it inside. Onto the concourse, packed with Celtic fans, everyone relieved to finally be through the gates after the chaos outside. The songs had already started, scarves out, that Glasgow Derby buzz building as kick-off got closer. Then up the stairs and out into the Broomloan Stand. Now, you always hear about the atmosphere at Ibrox, how hostile it is, how toxic it can be for away fans. That's the reputation anyway. But standing there looking around, it never quite felt like that. In fact, the 7,500 Celtic fans packed into the Broomloan were easily the loudest part of the stadium. One stand of green and white making more noise than the rest of the ground put together. And long before the players even appeared, the Celtic support had already made it feel like our end was the one driving the atmosphere. Now, this is normally where the highlights would go, except there weren't any. It was 120 minutes of football and honestly not much to show for it. So it all came down to penalties. Tavernier steps up for Rangers, their captain, their big moment, and he misses. Then comes the moment that mattered. One kick for Celtic to win it. The ball hits the net, the Celtic end erupts. Absolute scenes in the Broomloan. Pure scenes. Fans pouring over the barriers and onto the pitch to celebrate, running about, taking photos with the players, hugging them, soaking in the moment. It was relief, joy and chaos all rolled into one. The kind of celebration you only get after a Glasgow Derby win away from home. But while Celtic fans were celebrating, it didn't take long for things to turn. Rangers fans clearly could not handle what they were watching. Soon enough, they were coming onto the pitch themselves, not to celebrate, but looking for confrontation, trying to start fights, and turning what should have been a football moment into something else entirely. The mood changed quickly. What started as celebration suddenly felt tense, and the focus moved away from the result and onto the chaos unfolding around the stadium. And in the end, the reality was pretty simple. Rangers and sections of their support embarrassed themselves on their own pitch at Ibrox. What should have been the story of a football match became the story about how the day ended instead. While Celtic celebrated a hard-fought win together, the scenes that followed said far more about frustration and losing control than anything that happened during the game itself. Of course, none of this is anything new. When the dust settled, the football told its own story. Celtic move on to the Scottish Cup semi-final, while Rangers are left with nothing. And after all the noise, all the build-up and everything that happened around the game, that's the part that really matters. And another page has been written in the Martin O'Neill chapter of Celtic's history. A Glasgow Derby, a hard-fought win, and a team and support that stood together from start to finish. The kind of day that reminds you what this club is all about: resilience, unity, and pride.